I'm going to give a little power talk too. No, really, I am. It's really going to be a smaller power talk. So that song, when I listened to that song, but what struck me right away is I want to feel good, I want to be happy, I want this, I want that, I want the other thing. So it really made me think, going on the wings of last week's conversation, that the first question I have is, do you get what you want out of life? Are you getting what you want out of your life? And in order to know the answer to that, you have to actually be honest with yourself. You actually have to say whether or not you're really getting what you want out of life. Now, in order to really know if you're getting what you want out of life, the next question is, do I know what I want out of life? And Patrick touched on it. Many of us know what we want, but we push it aside immediately because a belief is in there that says you're not going to get it. Try something else. How many of you have tried something else for all the wrong reasons? Right? I love this idea. One of the things Rita said this week, we've had so much fun this week. It's been so great having them in the house and just, beautiful bottles of wine at night and just letting it all out. And at one point, Rita said something so profound, which was, she said, I went to Kauai with no backup plan. I don't want a backup plan. I don't want a plan B. Plan A is what I've decided on, and if this teaching says that what you are equal to manifests, why do I need a plan B? And she was very emphatic, very, very Italian. I love that idea. But the thing is, do you know what your plan A is? Or are you living plan B because your plan A is just out of reach? So that's the bigger question. Do I know what I want? And it means on all levels, all areas. Do I know what I want with my body, with health? Do I know what I want, or have I made agreements with myself that this is okay? I'll be 61 next Friday. At 61, I'm told there are certain things that are just going to happen. Not to me. Not unless I decide I agree with you. I went to my first dance class in like 15 to 20 years this week. Thank you, Marilee Blaisdell. Marilee's been saying to me, come to this tap class. Not a Broadway reference. Tap dancing is done everywhere. Because I promised Mark Wyrick I would not have a Broadway reference today. You'll see. So, because I tapped in 42nd Street. So anyway, I went to this tap class, and I was a little late. I didn't know it was going to be as far, and it was a Friday night, so traffic was a little tough. But I walked in, and they were doing a tap step, and I literally walked in, I saw the tap step, and I almost turned around and walked out. Because I was like, what the hell? That's impossible. I could never do that. And luckily, he said, we're going to move on. I was like, great. So I put my tap shoes on, and then instantly, I wanted to be who I was. Do you ever get that? I wanted to be who I was, and I started hearing my chiropractor saying, about my knees, because I said I was going to a tap class, and he went, oh, really? And I said, yes, I'm going to a tap class. He goes, oh, but we're right in the middle of making your knees stronger. I was like, I'm going to a tap class. If they're bad, you'll deal with it next week. So the mind just gets going, doesn't it? And I wanted to be Don Lockwood from Singing in the Rain, number 2, Mark, right? And I wasn't. And this is the choreographer who choreographed me in that national tour of Singing in the Rain. So I'm like, now it's even worse, because I'm like, oh, he's going to see this is what he turned into. And your mind just does this thing. And of course, Marilee, they're all up there dancing away. And so I just have to tell you what happened. Around 5 minutes in, 10 minutes, no, about 20 minutes in, it clicked. Something clicked in me. You know what clicked? My real self. Not my judgmental self, not myself that wanted to be who I was, not myself that was comparing me to everybody else in the room. None of it. Something just clicked, and all of a sudden the feet came back, and I'm like, oh, wow, great, I can even add arms now, because my feet are, because up to that point I was like, I'm not touching the arms. So, and why was I at that tap class, you may ask? Am I looking for a new career as Tommy Tune? No, I'm not. He has a great career. There's something in me that wanted to do it. And I kept saying no to it. But if Marilee Blaisdell keeps calling you every week and saying, are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? You go. You finally go. And so it was an amazing thing for me to say, do I want to do this? Yes, not only that, now I'm going to take a jazz class in the middle of the week. And here's the thing, I don't want to hear that my body's not going to do that. Then I'm watching So You Think You Can Dance finale. Anybody see the finale? Awesome finale. And I'm watching them dance, and I'm thinking to myself, could I do that? And I called Kevin, I was like, I'm going to take a dance class. I'm going to literally, he goes, don't jump too high, please. You'll just come splatting down to the ground. I was like, can't hear you, sorry, we're having a bad connection. We have to not only know what we want, but know that we can do it. And then the last question I have for you is, do you know how to get what you want? Do you know how to get what you want? Because that's what this science is all about. First of all, understanding that a want in you is a divine desire, even if it's divine discontent, it is that in you that knows more than you do in this moment. So, do you know how to get what you want? We talk all the time here about, I must be equal to what it is I wish to experience. But do we ever really go to being equal before we go after what we want? Do we take the 2 hours that Reverend Rita takes to get centered and know who she is before she speaks her word? Do we? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Great. How do you get to your divine self? Practice. Spiritual practice. That is it, how we have to do it. So, I was planning on coming here today to talk to you about how do you get what you want? Do you know what you want? Are you getting what you want? And then last night, I had the most remarkable, the most amazing evening. Mark Wyrick, who was in the ministerial class for the first year, and he said I should refer to him today as the ministerial dropout. Mark Wyrick took me to dinner. Now, we've been trying to have dinner for a very long time. I thought I was just going to dinner. Now, have you ever heard of the restaurant Maud? Okay, so, most of you haven't. I hadn't. So Maud is this unbelievable restaurant that they only have 25 seats. They do 2 seatings a day, 5 days a week, and it's sold out months in advance. And it's this very famous Australian chef. And so it's like 12 courses, with wine in between each course. Shocking that I'm standing here today. But a tiny little taste of wine with each course. And here's the thing. You don't get a menu to choose from. But at the end of your dinner, they give you the menu that you just ate. Now I want you to think about that for a moment. I didn't get to order what I want. I didn't even know what I would want in this restaurant. How many of you have ever sat in front of a menu and been like, what are you going to have? Right? I do that all the time. I always ask, what are you going to have? And it's like, I don't care really what you're going to have. I'm just, buying time before I figure out what I want. So the whole point of this was that I didn't know what I was going to have. I didn't know what I was going to eat. I was asked, Marcy and Al said to me, James, you know all that food stuff you do? No sugar, no dairy, no alcohol, and blah, blah, blah. Drop it tonight. Just drop it. And Marcy was like, do you think you can go there and just let them feed you whatever they feed you? And I was like, yes, of course. I'll just give them a couple of references they might want to stay away from. And they asked, are you allergic to anything? I said, well, red onions if they're not cooked. And he went, I think you're going to be fine. Because every month is a theme, just like us. Every month is a theme. This month was pomegranate month. So there's pomegranate in everything. Sea foam pomegranate over top of mussels. It was like, I don't even eat mussels. And I don't eat mussels. And I don't eat clams. I don't eat any of that stuff. I ate it last night. And it just kept coming, but I didn't order it. I didn't want it. And at the end of the dinner, they hand you what you've had. So I want you to think about this for a moment spiritually, because I knew I was coming in here today to ask you, are you getting what you want? Do you know how to get what you want? So what is the metaphor there? There is something in me, bigger than me, as Rumi says. I am the wave, but I am the entire ocean in the wave. And sometimes the wave needs to turn it over to the ocean. It doesn't mean I'm not the ocean. It just means I'm turning it over to something bigger in me, to the bigger chef in the beautiful world that I live in, to that in me that knows exactly what is going to be the most savory, delicious, and pomegranate-y dish that you've ever had. And I have to say this, everything that came out last night, I said to myself, I have never tasted this before. There was not one thing I tasted last night that I had ever tasted before. And Mark Wyrick said to me, and I told him I'm using this quote, he said, James, the trick to life is you have to be willing to taste everything and know that you don't have to finish any of it. And I said to him, I always look for an Ernest Holmes quote. I think I'll go for one of his dropout quotes today. So I have to taste everything and know I'm a choice. But taste it, at least taste it. We are an ocean of possibility. So, am I willing to take my individual self, allow it to be literally engulfed by all that there is, fall into that, and trust that at the end of my life, I'm going to get a menu that shows me exactly what was in store for me, and it's going to be perfect. And I'm going to have loved every morsel of it. I live that way, and I actually get this teaching. And I live that way, and I get this teaching, and this teaching gives me exactly what I want. And I don't even have to know what it is I want, other than I want to know who I am at all times so that the menu of life unfolds perfectly, and I don't put any crap in the way, any beliefs in the way that stops me. Karen, could you come up now? Band, could you come out? That stops me from knowing what I need to know, from knowing who I am. That really is what this whole thing is about. Are you willing to know who you are so profoundly that you don't get caught up in the control freak game of life? Anybody else have some controlling issues? I used to. No, I really did used to have a lot more than I do now, wouldn't you say?
I reserve the right to know at this point. I plan on not dropping out of ministry, so I need to,
But you know what? Here's the thing. When you really remember who you are, you kind of let go of some of that control. Yeah. I mean, I have choice.
Yes.
And I know what I want. And I insist on getting what I want.
Exactly the way you want it.
You want it.
I know.
But you know what? This
Love
whole talk is about really getting that I got to stop trying to write the menu and start allowing the menu more. And right? I can't tell if you're applauding the idea or that you'd like me to do that.
Both.
Or both.
That was Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. Both. I'd like us all to do that. So take a deep breath. As Rumi says, I am a drop in the ocean, but I'm not just the drop. I'm the entire ocean in a drop. So the magnificent Karen Mitchell took all that we've been talking about lately and wrote it this way.
One of the many, or one of the few, insignificance, or ego crashing through. Where do I belong in everything I see? Am I part of something? Is it part of me? I am not just a drop in the ocean. I am not just a wave on the sea. I am love, I am life set in motion. The whole ocean in a drop, that's me.
The whole ocean in a drop. The entire creative universe, right here, fully present. Whether I'm standing in a room trying to tap, or I'm standing in front of you, just letting it come out. Recognizing that that's the truth. And that the menu of life is infinite in scope. That we get to taste whatever there is to taste. And we get to decide what we like and what we don't like. We get to decide who to spend time with and who not to spend time with. We get to decide. what our life is going to be, knowing that it can be anything. No plan B, just plan A, absolute, pure, divine truth. I am the entire ocean in the drop. That's the truth. And I just let it be so, as we all say, and so it is.
All right. Let's just know that in every cell, in every moment, in every breath. No. Sacred and profane by any other name, the rose would smell as sweet. Divinely human, oh, never play it small. The world is at your feet. Keep your head in the stars and your toes in the sand. 'Cause you are not just a drop in the ocean. You are not just a wave on the sea. You are love, you are life set in motion. The whole ocean in a drop. I am not just a drop in the ocean. Not just a wave on the sea. I am not just a wave on the sea. I am love, I am life set in motion. The whole ocean in a drop. The ocean in a drop. The entire ocean in a drop. That's me.
And so it was, and so it is, and so it shall always be, no matter what.